Good morning, guys. Happy coffee talk. Coffee this morning's in my Perry mug. How great is this mug? It's at least 10 years old. It's like a Phineas and Ferb mug. My boys, when they were little, they used to love Phineas and Ferb. So if you're new to Coffee Talk, I actually have 3 kids. My boys are 14 and 12, and my daughter just turned 4. And so I've got quite the spread. And so when the boys were little, we would go to Disney, and I believe that this is where I got this mug, because they were super fan of Phineas and Ferb. And this is Perry, I think. He's a platypus. I don't know. He's a platypus, I think. So anyways, I am drinking Wicked Wolf coffee, which is one of my favorites. And yeah, I'm just hanging out. So it's 6 a.m. I let myself sleep an extra hour today. So normally I get up at 4:30. Today I let myself sleep till 5:30, and I think it was worth it. Normally I like to get up and get rocking, but I feel like today I just needed that extra hour, and I'm glad I gave it to myself because now I feel like really energized. So I just recently got a Whoop band. So I don't get anything from telling you that I got a Whoop band, by the way. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I only have one affiliate partner or sponsor, and it's Cured Nutrition. And so if you want to check out their supplements, I do have an affiliate link essentially for them, which means that if you buy something, then yes, I do get paid for it, but I want you to know that that's because I really do like their stuff and I use it every day. But this also is just something that I'm just using. So I'm going to tell you about stuff that I actually like and use, whether or not it's an affiliate or not. And Whoop is funny because I'll be honest, I had one of those Oura rings. So there's Oura Ring and there's Whoop, and those are the 2 primary kind of like wearable recovery devices that you can learn information from. And I've had an Oura Ring probably for 4 years. And so an Oura Ring, they are hard. They look just like a regular ring, but they have a hard material to them. And then there's a little sensor on the inside. So you wear it on your finger and it gives you data back. So it tells you, how well you slept, what your resting heart rate is, all sorts of things like that, right? And it gives you a little bit of an interpretation on that data. Like, hey, you're not super recovered today, or hey, your resting heart rate's higher than normal. And you can also add your activity in there, and it's pretty great. I wore it for many years. I used it mostly for the sleep part. I wanted to know, how my sleep was doing, and so that's what I used it for. But the unfortunate thing is whenever I would work out, I would have to take it off because it's a hard ring. It kind of hurt or would pinch, like when I would get up on the pull-up bar, or it would hurt when I would pick up a barbell. And so I wanted to try out a Whoop both just for me and for Fit Me clients who might be interested. And so I got one, and I've been wearing it now for probably like a week and a half. So I can give you some idea of what it is. And again, are these necessary? No. Does it matter if you're not eating well, you're not sleeping, you're not exercising? Who cares if you wear a wearable, because you've got some baseline stuff that you got to work on first. But if you're doing those things, or if you're motivated by data, I think it can be helpful. But what I really like about the Whoop is you can tell it what time you want to wake up. So I can say hey, I want a 4:30 wake up. And based off of my sleep and recovery over the past couple of days, it'll tell me hey, you need to go to bed at 8:30 if you want to wake up at 4:30 to actually be recovered. So I think that that's really cool. And then the other thing it does is it takes your workout data and does a lot more with it than the Oura Ring. So it takes it and it calls it strain. And it gives you a target for the day based off of how well you recovered. So if you've done a lot of strain, it's going to give you a target that's a little lower. If you've done less and you're super recovered, it's going to give you a strain target that's a little higher, which is also super cool. Again, you can go beyond or above it or below it or whatever. It's not the boss of you, but I like that it's interpreting, a combination of your exercise and sleep. And giving you recommendations, and it's also making it kind of practical as you need to go to bed if you want to get up and do all the things you want to do. So anyways, I'm enjoying it. So if you want to check it out, the only thing it doesn't do is track steps, which is bizarre. You would think that it would track steps, but I actually Googled it yesterday, and they basically said that tracking steps is irrelevant for fitness and health. And I think that could be true because at the end of the day, it tracks miles. So when I go for a walk, I track the miles in my Whoop. So it's tracking something. It's just not telling me a step total. But I think step totals can be motivating if you use them averages. So if you're hey, I'm normally a 5,000 step a day person and I'm working on getting to 7, that can be very motivating. Same thing 7, I'm working to get to 9 or 10. That's kind of fun. So anyways, I like it for that reason. Anyways, check it out. It's interesting. Again, I don't have any affiliation with Whoop, so if you try it, just let me know if you like it or not. But one thing I want to remind you of, and then I want to give you an update on my like upcoming adventure and talk some coffee talk stuff, is we are right now taking enrollment for what I'm calling the Fit Me Confidence Building Coaching Experience. It's basically 28 days of coaching. So typically our program is 6 months or a year long. We don't offer like a 1 month situation, but this is a 1 month situation. This is where you basically get your Fit Me plan. You get a score, you get an assessment, you get a plan to reach your goals, and then we coach you for a month so you can experience what that's actually like. So instead of coaching, which is normally like $250, $300, $350 a month, depending on what you're doing, or even $400 depending on your program that you pick, this is $97. So you're basically going to get like a ton of really cool stuff packed into 28 days for $97. And if you haven't done coaching before, if you haven't done coaching with Fit Me, this is a no-brainer. And who cares that it's summertime? Listen, so if you sign up now, next week's going to be your assessment week. So 4th of July week, we're actually going to like do your assessment and make your game plan. So even if you got 4th of July plans, who cares? Because you're really going to start like right after that. And so then you can spend the entire month of July making progress and feeling better and actually taking good care of yourself with the help of a coach and following a plan. And then after that, you can do with it what you want. You can take it, run with it, build on it on your own. If you want additional help, Fit Me can help you. But at the end of the day, it would be a month well spent. Like make July a month you're actually going to like make some progress towards the goals. I mean, it's kind of like upside down New Year. If you think about it, I was thinking about it before. July is upside down New Year, which is basically like 6 months from January 1st is July. And so you've got 6 months left of the year. So it's a perfect time to be recommitted to your goals. Anyways, I'll put the link in the show notes, in the bio, all the places, and I would love to have you join us for that 28-day Fit Me coaching experience. So I thank you. A bunch of you got back to me about things that I should take on this like adventure to Banff in a couple weeks. So thank you so much for that feedback. And the resounding theme was like, you must have hot coffee. It was funny because everybody's like, gives me feedback on like what kind of boiler to get and like try this and this. But the one thing everybody said for sure is like, you need hot coffee. So I promise I will do it. I'm looking at either one of these sort of like camping cooking sets that are fairly inexpensive. Someone sent it to me on Instagram. It's great. I could do that, or I could just get like one of those jet boils, and they're a little bit more expensive, but I'm sure I would use it a lot. But I just don't know if it also, I would like to get something that I could also put like a pan on top, right? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out is the easiest way to both have like cook up hot water real quick, but also like, is there anything that I could also put my cast iron on and like cook a steak? Or is that like, doesn't exist? I'm sure it does exist, but I want it to be like not too big and kind of reasonable. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I got these so when I got my Forerunner a couple of months ago, they came with these boxes on top, like, I don't know what they're called, like Pelican cases kind of thing. Like they're plastic big boxes. So they're perfect for, putting camping crap. So that's what I'm going to do. So I got to figure it out, and it's got to fit in there. That's the only rule. Because that way I can just like easily put it in the car and it's all organized and easy. Because I think I'm going to do this frequently. I kind of have a feeling that over the next couple of months, like I'm going to just pick really cool spots sometimes when I need a break or I need to get out for the weekend and just go and car camp and be there first thing and do an awesome hike, or just be at the lake and chill and read or think or write, all of those things. And then, but I got to get set up. So any tips or advice, please send my way. Please send my way. Coffee talk this morning, I think I want to talk about just, again, this is a challenging season for me that I've shared publicly, just because, it's not about like constantly me talking about things that are hard. It's about you guys. That's what this coffee talk is for. But I like I said, it is a difficult, challenging season. It would be weird if I didn't say that, right? Going through a divorce. So that's hard. I've got 3 kids, so that's hard. And their dad's been on deployment since November. So that's hard. So there's like a bunch of things that are challenging. And I think it's interesting because as you go through hard seasons, there are moments where you're like, where are I don't know. The sources of support, right? So you probably have some that you rely on in a tough season, or things that are just there for you. But it's very different than I expected, to be honest. There are certain people who have been able to be there through this season who don't need anything, I guess is the way I would describe it. They're just able to listen or provide, they'll ask, like, do you want feedback? Or they'll just listen, or they'll just check in. Hey, how you doing? Those people are really hard to find, to be honest. And it's not the people that I thought to, and not in a bad way, because that is not something that everybody is capable of giving at all times. Because if we're going through our own stuff, it's very difficult to be like that for someone else unless you've practiced doing it before. Because most of the time when we listen to someone who's struggling, well, we want to like give our thoughts and feedback. We want to be there for them, but we also want to share our experience. We want to participate in the conversation in like a back and forth, and that's not bad. But in a really tough season, you almost need the exact opposite. You need someone who's just like, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm here to listen. If you need anything, let me know. But you can just vent. And if you want some advice or feedback, I can give it to you. But if not, that's okay too. That is super hard to find. And so, and again, just someone who will check on you. I think I've had, 3 people that have been like that for me in this season. And I've had many more who, once they found out what was going on, reached out to check on me, which is awesome. Like, people are so great. And I think one of the things is, like, when you go through hard times, you can fixate on crappy people, or you can fixate on good things. You get to pick. You truly get to pick. And that's just what I was saying yesterday. Like, you kind of get to choose your outlook. And I think you get to also choose your outlook on people, because people can be crappy or people can be awesome, and they're around you all the time. And during a tough season, it's actually really easy to start to fixate on the crappy, because you might be searching for support. And some people in your life might not be capable of giving you that support. And so then all of a sudden it feels crappy. It feels like, well, that they're not there for me, or this and that. And we start to think, well, like, those people don't get it, they don't care, whatever. And that may not be true. And again, that's just, you get to choose what it is that you're looking at and fixating on, because at the end of the day, there are people who do care and who do want to support you. And so those are, that's what you have to think about. And so I also want to point out that if we don't know how to be that for others, that's something that we can like learn to do. Is one of the things that I 2 times over the past 5 years. So Georgia's 4. When I was pregnant with Georgia, so that was 5 years ago, right? Georgia was a surprise. And so Georgia was a surprise, and then her dad immediately left on deployment when I was pregnant. So I was probably 5 or 6 weeks pregnant, and then he had to go on deployment, and he didn't get back until she was 39 weeks pregnant. Until I was 39 weeks pregnant. I was at the very, very end. And then he had to leave again when she was like a week and a half old. And he came back maybe like 1 or 2 more times during her first year, because then it wasn't his fault. It was the Navy. The Navy kept him away. And then COVID actually locked down and he was stuck on the East Coast. And so that 2-year period of being pregnant and having a new baby was really tough. And I remember thinking in that season how like blown away I was by certain people who were there and who reached out and who showed me what it was like to have like true female support in my life. And I was like, wow, I've been missing the boat. Like, I don't think I've been providing this for anybody ever, like me as a person towards someone else. And it was a really good sanity check. It was like, wow, women need women in those kind of seasons more than ever. And it was so surprising, because I was like, I didn't think I needed anything. Because that's my like MO of like, well, I don't need support or help. And remember how critical it was to have someone who went with me to my doctor's appointments. One of my girlfriends went with me to every single doctor's appointment. One of my other girlfriends was there for the entire process of labor, and who knew all, who constantly checked on me, who would come over and, make sure I was doing well. Like, and even when Georgia was born, it was the same. It was fascinating, because it was the first time in my life, and I think I did a podcast on this years ago, But it was the first time in my life that I was like, wow, like support from other women really was a game changer for me. And I feel like that in this season too. Different season, different challenge. But it's a couple like really special women in my life who are there. So, sorry, didn't mean to get choked up. But the reason I'm sharing this on Coffee Talk is because, again, it's like a really good reminder that sometimes we have to be that for other people. Not all the time. I'm not saying like empty your cup and be that for everybody. But I'm saying sometimes if we have the capacity and we can show up for someone in a tough season, we need to do it. Because it's true that most of the people in your life don't have the capacity for it. And that's okay. And that's what I'm saying. Like, our outlook could be like, well, they suck. It's really not true. They just don't have the capacity for it right now. They might not know how to do it. But there are going to be a couple key people that show up. And so those people, I mean, if you can flip the switch and be that for someone else in a season when they need it, I think that's a really cool part of the human experience. And I hope that's one of like the positive things I learned from this season too, is how to do that. Because I've seen it modeled for me now in a way that I didn't understand. It's not as simple as like, oh, hanging out with friends. It's not that. It's like a very distinct kind of support. So anyways, I'm sorry I got choked up and teary. I didn't mean to do that. I know you guys don't mind, but my challenge to you is if you have the capacity this season, then be that for someone. So you're all going to reach out to me and be like, are you okay? I swear I'm okay. I just got choked up mostly because I'm grateful. I'm grateful for those people. That's what got me choked up. Like a big sense of gratitude. So thanks as always for plugging into Coffee Talk. If you haven't done so, subscribe to Fit Me Coffee Talk on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're not a part of our Facebook group yet, go to Facebook, search Fit Me Community, request to join the group, and I will add you there. Thanks again for understanding like all the big feels, and I appreciate you listening, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.